purposes, such as, for example, self-defense within the home. Could there be any other examples of lawful use of a firearm? Anybody?
Hunting.
Oh yeah, see, a whole bunch of them. Yeah, hunting, target shooting, huh?
Self-defense.
Absolutely. So there you go. Okay, so we need to let our legislature know that they are subject to the power of the people, right? Not the other way around. Subject to the police power for a fundamental God-given right. See that picture there? Sam McCann's one of my good friends, and I gave this talk with him. He went back and wrote the repeal of FOID card because we pounded in the true function of government. Let that soak into your brain. How many times have you been, probably not many, but asked, well, what is the real function of government? We said, well, public safety, and it's to guard the borders, right? Guard the borders, and it's got all kinds of functions. But what is the primary number one? And that's to secure what our pilgrims came over here for. They got dumped on a shore with no house, no nothing, just a pile of boxes and supplies, and it was inadequate that, and winter coming, and they had to do a lot of work. Was it safe? No. Was it secure? No. No. Did they have better streets? They didn't have any street. They might have had a trail, maybe, right down to the water to get a drink, where they probably had to drink out of the lake, okay? So we have to keep that in mind. What do people die for? Well, they sure won't die for public safety. One of my heroes, Thomas Jefferson. Another hero, George Washington. These men weren't perfect, were they?
No.
They weren't perfect, were they? But they sure came up with a wonderful plan. Tell you what, everybody in here that's perfect, stand up. There's only been one perfect man, and they crucified him. Okay? All right, they weren't perfect. But they were sincere, and they did the best they could, and they studied hard, and they came up with a good plan. And now, our fathers, previous generation, they didn't keep an eye on it too well, and they let it get screwed up. And we're in the same process here. I want you to notice the salt and pepper hair around here. I see a few young ones, right? We are the ones that have to hold it. We have to hold until Carson comes along. And these young men come along. We have to hold the line because they haven't got lucky like I did and got stopped when I was 21 years old and had the feeling I'd been completely violated, okay? That was a fortunate thing. That was a good thing. I ran into the man early, like John Hancock. Where's that signature found? At the bottom of the Declaration of Independence, it's great big. He said, I'm going to write it big. They may call it treason, but my name's going to be up there. They won't have any confusion about that, right? I like Rosa Parks. She's supposed to go to the back of the bus. She said, I'm not going to the back of the bus. I'm going to sit right here. I'm tired. And she sat down there. Guts. It takes guts to be in this fight. And you people are here. You've been working all day, a lot of you, and you're tired too. But you're here. And you know tons of people that aren't here. We have to do the best we can. I'll tell you what, 6% of the revolution, 6% of the people at the time of the revolution was all that participated. The rest of them were holding their finger up, seeing which way it's gone. Some of them were Tories when the Tories were winning. Some of them were Patriots when the Patriots are winning. About 6% participated in any way, shape, or form, and 3% maybe carried a gun. See this small number here? Compared to thousands here in Quincy? You people are it. If you don't hold the line, we're lost. That's my feeling on it. Martin Luther King. In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Lots of people are going to stand back. That's the way it was at the time of the Revolution. It's not anything new. This is nothing new. It takes the persistence of a few. Samuel Adams, who's back there, what'd he say? His famous quote, "We set brush fires in the minds of men." That's what we got to do. Keep setting those brush fires. Get on Facebook, email people, call people on the phone. Laura was talking. Call people on the phone. Put your feet to the pavement the best way you can, whatever it takes to get her done. And then you got to remember, never forget this, and I don't think you will, it is dangerous to be right when the government's wrong. Because you know what they're going to do to you? They're going to Waco you. They're going to give you a hard time. There's men here on this county board. They're good men and women. Is there a lady on there? I don't remember. You got to support these people. You got to do it. It's a critical time. There's going to be Supreme Court justices coming up in this next election. I'm a libertarian. I wrote an article 2 years ago, before 2010, on lesser of two evils. And I'm going to probably have to go against my principle, somewhat against my principle, on part of what I vote this year. Firearm owner's ID card, we want to cover it. If you live in Illinois, it's mandatory to have this card to buy ammunition or a firearm. Now, is that constitutional? Somebody? No, it's not, is it? They don't understand shall not be infringed too well, do they? Okay, there is an exception, though, for people that are in Illinois. Did you know that? Not people that live in Illinois. But if you're a visitor, was somebody here from out of state, from Missouri or from far? There's a guy right there. There's another guy. These guys, they're okay. They're good people. They can go down to Walmart and they can buy ammo, okay? And they can buy a gun. But you people that live here, not you, you can't do that, okay? You're part of the evil ones. You have to get permission and the blessing of the federal, or of the Chicago machine, okay, in order to purchase firearms. But anybody in America, except somebody that lives in Illinois, can go and buy ammunition and firearm in Illinois. That's great. They're such nice people, you know. They come over here, you know. They look like nice people, don't they? Yeah. It's just you people that live here are too rotten and untrustworthy. You guys are bad people. So, okay. No other state in America has this requirement, just Illinois is staying, right? And it's put out by the Chicago machine. Senate Bill 3340 would repeal the Firearm Owners Identification Act. It is penned by Sam McCann. Somebody penned it and he put his name to it. I'm sure he helped with it. But it takes guts to stand out there and put it out there. Not very many co-sponsors on there, people. One fella from right here, John Sullivan. I met him a time or two, seems like a nice guy. I'm telling you, it takes guts to face the Chicago machine. Those people are vicious. But you're going to have, if he doesn't have any guts, then he's going to have to move on. I hate to say it that way. But this is a fundamental God-given right. And if you don't have that, they will throw your butt in jail for exercising a fundamental God-given right. You're going to have to ask him why. You're going to have to press every town hall meeting. Be there. Chicago shootings soar. Source? Chicago Tribune, April 12th, 2012. You can go look it up. 60% they're up. They're shooting people right and left. I'll take questions just a little later, huh? Okay. So what is the likelihood of all those shooters in Chicago having FOID cards? Hey, go out there and get me a FOID card so I can get me some ammo and a gun, go kill people. Yeah, they don't get a FOID card, but they get guns. I can get a gun. If I don't have a FOID card, I can go get a gun somewhere. You can too. It's not that hard. Well, who are they trying to kid? They think you're stupid. I'm sorry, that's the way it is. The Chicago machine thinks their people are stupid. So, here's all these people in Chicago shooting people. They even hit them bad enough to kill them once in a while, too. Isn't there a law against having a gun without a FOID card? Can't these people read? That should stop them. Yeah, they need to be able to read. Then they would know they can't go get a gun without a FOID card. So what we really need is a law against stupid politicians joining the Chicago machine. That'd stop it, wouldn't it? We could pass a law against stupid, and are you going to get it to work? Yeah. So, well, I say you can't fix criminals by passing another law against gun ownership. Suppose we acknowledge a constitutional right to carry and arm the law-abiding citizens who don't wish to be victims. Now the crooks don't know who's carrying. You don't even know whether I'm carrying or not. 49 states have shown that crime doesn't get worse, and most of the time it goes down. Let's take a look at one other area. This is important. The judge makes an order. Writes orders all the time. We're going to make a simple one. You can read it there. Joe Schmo shall not infringe the property of Steve Jones. Is that one hard to understand? Have we got any cops in here? Attorneys probably do, yeah? What's that mean? Let's take a look at it. How far onto the property can Steve Jones go? Huh?
Nowhere.
1 step? 10 steps? Did I hear somebody say the front porch or 1 step inside? Oh, nowhere? What is that? What you said?
That's what I said. Nowhere.
Nowhere. You can't step on it. Can't infringe the property. You know, if we could get some judges down here, maybe they could figure, and then read them the Second Amendment. Maybe they haven't read that. It says, shall not be infringed, right? It says, is that hard to understand? That's not really too hard to understand. We might have an attorney in here. We got an officer in here. That's fine. It's not hard to understand. When he goes to enforce that order, he needs to understand it. He doesn't have any trouble understanding that. I don't either. Okay, that wasn't too hard. Now, let's look real quick at our ordinance, okay? How am I doing on time? Am I okay? Must not be. Okay, we'll keep going just a little bit. Let's look at our ordinance in Pike County. And we got people over here from, is it Warren County? Or no, you guys are McDonough. That's Macomb. And Sean couldn't be here from Warren County. Jerry and Creppy is the way I call him anyway. So, anyway, those guys are working hard. We got John Brady and Kevin are working on it right here in Adams County. And there's several other counties. The sheriff called me up from Randolph County, said, we got to get this going in our county. These sheriffs want it. They know that you law-abiding people, if every one of you had this officer right here, if every one of you were armed, it wouldn't bother him a bit. It wouldn't bother him because he knows you're safe. One of my best friends is a game warden in Pike County. He's been out there. You have 8 or 9 people with big shotguns around him. Does he feel scared? He's issuing tickets and citations and checking everybody. So they're law-abiding people. They obey the law. They may speed. They may not carry their tag, and they may shoot one too many deer, but they're not going to kill people. Right? They're not going to do that. Let's look at this ordinance. And you're going to see it. You're going to recognize it for what it is. It's a restatement of the Second Amendment, right? Now, therefore be it enacted as the law of Pike County, Illinois, that the people have an individual and fundamental right to keep and bear arms free of infringement by any local, state, or federal government. That's pretty simple. It's a little more long-winded, but it gets in local, state, and federal. And it says fundamental right. To keep means to have and to hold, to bear or carry. The people, and it says individual, an individual fundamental right. Okay? Didn't say anything about a militia, but you're part of the militia. People in here are. I don't know that, I'm sure. Some of you do. And further, if you don't want to stop, we need to make this really clear. And further, that the method or manner of possessing, carrying, or transporting, is that the same as bearing? Tried to make it clear, right? Possessing, carrying, or transporting said arms shall not be infringed. Carry it in your coat, carry it on your hip where everybody can see it. Carry it on your ankle, put it inside your hat. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Are you people going to go out and kill a bunch of people? No, you're not. But if somebody tried to kill you, you might have half a chance. Especially these young ladies. They need an equalizer, but I'm kind of puny myself. Carson can take care of himself, especially on the football field. Got a little mean streak. Okay, well anyway. So, it doesn't stop there. We have nervous Nellies. We could stop there. But we have nervous Nellies who keep coming and asking, well, what about bad guys? What if they could read that and say, oh, we can get guns? Well, the real truth is if you disobeyed the law and you got a felony charge or some charge which precludes you from having a firearm, you're precluded anyway, regardless. You've lost a fundamental right. Okay? Now, I disagree with some aspects of that, but that's the way it's interpreted for right now. You've lost that right. But for the nervous Nellies who are just a little bit nervous, here's what we said. This ordinance shall exclude all individuals who are prohibited from possessing firearms under the laws of the United States, prohibited minors, and those under any intoxicating influence exceeding the standards of the Illinois Motor Vehicle Code. Upon passage, this ordinance shall be in full force and effect. So what we did is we tried to put in a little bit of a safeguard. I'd almost say that the intoxicating deal potentially could be an infringement, okay? Potentially. I hate noses under the tents, but we had a little committee, me and Dick Metcalf primarily. Many of you know Dick, and and another person or two, and we kicked it around and up and down and all around. And this is what we came up with. It's really pretty darn good. And every word has been reviewed and gone over multiple times. So that's the way it looks. Who's Nathan Hale? Anybody know? We're almost done. Almost done.
Spot that was executed.
Yes.
I regret that I only have but one life to use my time.
There's the phrase. Let's talk about Nathan Hale. Graduated from Yale University in the time of the founding fathers. Some of you will remember. You'll remember his quote if you don't remember anything else. A young man. And he joined up with General George Washington somewhere, I don't know where, but he wasn't on the front line. He somehow kept, you got to have people that guard the edge somewhere, and he got stuck guarding the edge. And eventually, General George Washington needed some people to slip in behind the enemy lines and take a chance and kind of spy out the land, see what the British are doing. We might call it in a nice form reconnaissance. The ugly form is spying, okay? Now, if you spy, you die if you get caught. And when you die by hanging. It's a hanging offense. Well, Nathan Hale, young man that he was, principled person, schoolmaster, he did get caught. He's kind of an innocent babe in the woods type person. He didn't have that subtle tradecraft that we might of a trained person. But anyway, he was caught, and he, rather than just lie about what he was doing, he fessed up. So they hung him. But before they hung him, he made this famous statement. He said, "I regret that I have but one life to give for my country." There is some evidence that says, some say he had said, I regret that I have one life to give for liberty. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Same thing to me. But this young man, 21 years old, they said he was graceful, strong, he stood up, and he went with, I'm sure he had fear. You just can't help that, have fear. But he stood there, he didn't weep and whine. He stood up there and he took it and he said, I'd do it all over again. Now, oops, I'm going to stop right there for the moment. Okay, this, I'd like to say about this, I'm trying to think what this parade is this weekend, Dogwood Festival, right? Dogwood Parade or whatever, and people, we've got to push, and it takes a lot of effort. Everybody's going to have to keep pushing, daylight, dark, and we're few, but we're mighty in many respects because we're persistent. Now, I'm perfectly willing to take any questions if you have time for that. Any questions about the ordinance or anything like that? Yes?
Would it be more practical, perhaps have a constitutional amendment, just give, eliminate the word subject to police power beginning of the Illinois Constitution? Is that discussed or thought about?
The question was, would it be possible to have a constitutional amend the 22nd section of the Illinois Constitution and eliminate those words from that? That would be possible, but it would be very difficult to do. Very difficult. I would like to see our ordinance made a law. But what you got to realize, in our research, trying to take it on the state level, that was the idea, take it statewide. The sneaky rascals, I have other words for them too, sneaky rascals changed our Constitution in such a way that you cannot do anything by referendum except amend Article 4, which is the number of people in a representative district, okay? So there's lots of complications to that. Somebody else had a question, yes?
How does that line in the Illinois Constitution compare to other states' constitutions?
It's not in any other state's constitution. That's, you can't believe, I could go into one other one on when they had the convention. The committee that put this out stood on the floor and they said, we can't completely ban guns. He said, if we put this in there, and he said it 4 times, we can't ban handguns, and it'll probably stick, okay? It was all planned, very, very much planned, along with the referendum deal. So, another question.
So, I don't have a question, but does anybody know who Emily Miller is?
Emily Miller.
She's a reporter for the Washington Times. She's had a series on how she got her gun.
Yes,
This
very
is good. It's on YouTube. You gotta watch it.
Yeah, if you get a chance, look up Emily Miller. I read her articles, read the whole thing, how she eventually got a handgun permit, the trials and tribulations is getting out of Washington, D.C. Somebody else is right there, yeah.
Yeah, I have a question about your Pike County referendum in particular.
Okay. Pike County referendum's a question.
Okay, I have something that went around the internet from the National Association for Gun Rights. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Yes, I'm familiar with that.
It's signed by Dudley Brown, and he's claiming that your sheriff...
Let me comment on that. I know which one you got. Okay. I got that the day it was done. Did anybody else get the National Gun Rights deal in the email? And they really conked our sheriff. We called him up. Our sheriff and I testified 2 weeks ago yesterday in Springfield. And here's what our sheriff said. He said, another fellow had testified too, saying, well, he quoted a Harvard study saying, well, 65% of the people really don't want concealed carry, you know, and that's from Harvard. Harvard, you know, that's Harvard. That's a good place, you know. And the sheriff got up there and he said, well, I don't know anything about Harvard, but I do know something about Pike County. And 85% of our people went to the voting booth on a primary election where most people don't show up in record numbers to say they wanted constitutional carry, not just some concealed carry where you beg the government for permission to carry. And we called Dudley Brown, our radio station guy, finally got a hold of him, Jack Hall. He is rude. He said, didn't care. He said, I got 16 writers do my writing for him. I'm not even sure what that one is, and I don't care. And I emailed him, and then I emailed my sheriff, Paul Petty. I sent that to him along with my response. And that's the way that one goes. Any other questions?
This isn't true.
No, absolutely not. Our sheriff supports, he signed our petition, okay? Most of these sheriffs do support it. I know people are going to have potty break. There's other questions, though. I hate to miss it, and I can stay.
Going back to the Illinois language of the Illinois Constitution, was that written there when the Constitution was written, or was that later?
Good question. He's talking about this Constitution that I had up here. That was 1970. The one that preceded this one was 1870, and there was 2 others before that. I've read them all. The first 3 had no comment at all about firearms, which meant we had constitutional carry. In other words, it didn't say we had the right to keep bear arms. What grants us the right to keep bear arms? No. Thank you, God. We are endowed. I made the same mistake over and over. On national radio, I got corrected on that when I was on a couple weeks ago. Isn't that awful? On Tom Gresham's Gun Talk. Now, Dan, okay. Yeah, our rights are endowed by our Creator. And we have the fundamental right. Now, one of my good friend attorneys, go to church with him, he said, well, Dan, this is really unnecessary if what you say is true about the Second Amendment. I say, yeah, that's true. Now we've made it part of Pike County. Why bother with that? You mean you've already got the right? So we need it we need public support. We need our officials to understand where we stand. And believe you me, now we're a few here tonight, but there's people all over this town, all over this county that understand more than we think, and they're learning. I've been so encouraged the last few years. I was discouraged for many years. Nobody cared, okay? But I've seen more people lately beginning to study and to read because they smell rats. They smell them. One more question, then I'll quit. Maybe I have one more question. Oh, this person right here had a question earlier. Okay, no problem. Oh,
Dan,
Jerry.
Just on your follow-up on the testimony that you and Sheriff Petty gave, any word, and how about their attitude?
Oh, this is a good question. We were at the state capitol. The Sean Ford, who is from deepest, darkest Chicago, that's what I call it. I'm scared to go up in that neighborhood. It just makes me, I'm just a little Park County boy, okay? Anyway, he was a man who, of color, and he ran this committee. He co-chaired it with another fella. Just did an excellent job. Very intelligent. He listened. He asked questions. He did not mock. He is interested. Okay? Anyway, this whole thing went really, really well. Almost everybody that was there was pro, and the whole flavor, I think you can feel very encouraged about. The one thing that I testified on, this gentleman that got up and gave the 65% figure from Harvard against concealed carry and constitutional carry, he lost his son in a tragic incident. A gunman shot his son down. It's very tragic, and now he's kind of got a little bit of a war going on guns. And I also lost a son. I lost a 6-year-old son in a horse accident at Siloam Springs, and that's been many years ago, my oldest son. And it was Dad's day off, and he was with me, and I felt at that point that they had a little opportunity for some of us at the end to talk, and I extended my sympathies to him. I lost my son in a horse accident. But, you know, if we get rid of horses, there's still going to be other accidents. There's going to be car accidents, isn't there? And we get thrown from our horse, and we get back on and ride. We get killed in a car, We don't throw our cars away. Our family gets killed in a car. Four-wheelers, right? Lots of those accidents. I've been to several funerals in Pike County. It's a hard thing. Death is hard. But the real truth is people kill people. Guns don't kill people. Hammers don't kill people. Cars don't kill people. People kill people. They're accident prone. Some of them are menacing. Some of them are mean, like Mary Shepard's attacker. And all the laws you pass against that aren't going to change it. Public safety, it always sounds good because it's for the children, and it's for the elderly, and it's for the teenagers, and it's for these young people about to go to college, and there's always a good reason. But every time you pass